up guys, and welcome to this very special late night edition of the update, and a very special one. The PS4 has been announced and there's quite a lot to talk about really. Firstly, this PC man got a PC, got consoles, haven't used them in about May for actually playing any games, but that is set to change because I have to say I'm quite excited actually by the PlayStation 4 and what it's going to bring. Firstly, what makes a successful console, do we think? Well, it's not quite the same as a PC. PC, obviously the graphics have a lot more to do with it because you can put whatever card you want in and you can get the graphics you want. PS4 graphics, they looked very good. The graphics aren't going to be groundbreaking because at the end of the day, if they put a GTX 680 equivalent in it, then it's going to be way too expensive. But from real-time demos and the gameplays that we saw, it looked very good. But we didn't actually see the PlayStation 4 itself, we just saw what it can do. I imagine they're going to wait for a big reveal at E3, and they've got quite a lot more to say about it, but they've touched on a lot, and we're going to have a look and see what they've done. So leading on, what do I think would make a successful console? Well, I see mainly four categories. You've got graphics. As we've said, they've got to be good. I mean, if they're going with this sort of strength, that their graphics are really good, and this is the system's buy for graphics, and the graphics are going to have to be really good. And as from what I can tell, they look really good for a console, so that's fantastic. The main thing for me is innovation, however. At the end of the day, it's got to be different, it's got to stand out in a market of other consoles. We haven't seen what Xbox is going to do, but I imagine they'll be doing something similar in the way that they're going to be innovating. We're going to have to wait and we're going to see what they come out. But they started off really by showing their new controller. Now, their new controller is essentially the same as the old one, with quite a big difference. It looked to me to be a little larger than the normal one, a little bit thicker, but they say that it feels nicer in the hand and it's easier to use. But the main difference is that it's got a touchpad on the front, so there's a new way of interacting with your games. We'll have to wait and see how that works, but that could be a nice little, neat little feature. That's just on the front, so it would be on the front using your thumbs. But it's got a share button on it, and they're kind of putting this out there to be one of the best things about this console, and actually it does seem very good. You can just press the share button and whatever you've just done will be shared, and it's got a second processor, they say, in it, so whatever you choose to share is done regardless of what you're doing and shouldn't affect your gameplay quality at all. It's not like a PC if you put another command in, so if you're, like, for example, say you've got Fraps open, you're recording your game, it's not going to make any difference at all, which is really nice, and your friends can jump in straight away, see what you're playing, literally see what you're playing, so they can see your screen. They can even take over and give you a helping hand. So this seems like some really big innovation, and something that I'm quite excited to get my hands on and actually try and see how well it works. In their new PlayStation Store, they've got Gaikai integration, because Sony bought Gaikai, so they own the same thing, and this means that you'll be able to play live demos. Hopefully it'll be any game, so that's what they were saying in the talk. They were saying that you can just try any game. It's not a case of downloading a demo or anything like that. You can just get straight in, play your game, which was one of always the best things about OnLive, that you wouldn't have to wait, and that seems like an absolutely fantastic thing. And the other thing that I thought was fantastic, and we won't ever, as far as I can tell, get on Steam, because it just won't work like that, is games, you can buy them. So say FIFA 14 for example comes out, it's midnight, you bought the game, and the second it starts downloading, providing you've got a good enough internet connection, I imagine, you can start playing the game while it's downloading. We saw a similar thing with Blizzard. They do this on PC actually with their downloader, but they say it's instant, so the second you press download you can start playing. How well that works, we'll have to wait and see. That seems like a really, really nice feature. You can just start playing at midnight, or not just new releases, anything when you want to start playing it, you pay, you can start playing it. Absolutely fantastic idea, and I think this is going to be a real big hit. Now, the other thing that PlayStation's got going for it is exclusive content. Now, their exclusive content has always been the best. In my view anyway, it's been better than Xbox at 100%. and in some ways it's better than PC. Sure, PC's got its exclusive genres like the RTS, and I really do love some of those games, but when it comes to actually titles, I'd say that Sony PlayStation has the strongest lineup. What they've got Uncharted, they've got Infamous, they've actually announced that there's going to be Infamous, which is absolutely fantastic, and I loved those games and can't wait to start playing them again. But there wasn't too much announced. There's 2 new IPs coming out, and one of them is from Capcom, and from what it did look quite very similar to Dark Souls. I imagine it won't be a clone, but it looked very similar to Dark Souls, so it'll be interesting to see what that's all. And of course it looked good because it's running all these new game engines, but that also means that us on the PC, we're going to be getting some fantastic games with these new game engines as well. And we touched on it earlier, but the community side of things looks absolutely fantastic. You can, as I said, look at other players' games and do that, but they were really pushing that it doesn't matter where you are on any device, you can interact with other players. So if you have a PS Vita, you can actually play any game anywhere, is their goal, as they were saying. But if you have a mobile device or anything, then you can just look at your scores, or not just like small facts like we get now, like times, but you can go ahead and really interact with things. There was a new game announced, exclusive, it was a driving game, and that looks really good. And they were saying that you can make challenges, so you could say set a track on your phone wherever you were, set a time to be in, and you can challenge people to do it, and they can do it. So bearing in mind this is the first we've heard of it, this is something that could get pushed really far, and it's actually going to be quite exciting, and you and your friends could have a great time with this no matter where you were. Now they also announced better Move integration. Now this has obviously not been Sony's strong point, the Move system. It's been used effectively in certain games. To be honest, the best use of it was actually, for me anyway, Heavy Rain. I felt that the game felt a lot more immersive, and of course Heavy Rain is anyway, but it could be a really good new tool. They were saying that in Little Big Planet, the developers of that, Media Molecule, were saying that they've been sculpting with this device. So instead of having to use your mouse and like rotate the camera and stuff, you can literally just use your Move controller just to make things and like really small tweaks and adjustments. And while this was only a technology they were showing off, it could be used in the future. But what they haven't said is they haven't mentioned that the controllers had a little light strip on them, similar to the Move. And how this comes into games we don't know, but we do know that the PlayStation 4 will come with a Kinect-like sensor. They said it's stereoscopic, so it's got 2 cameras on it, and it will sense the depth in the room, so it's effectively PS Move Mark II, and your controller will be able to sense things. So imagine, we don't know yet, but things like driving games that will be used for, not even just driving games. If you remember Far Cry 2 on the PlayStation 3, you could use your controller as a driving device, and that was just a cool little nifty feature. But we'll have to wait and see what the integration like that is, but it seems like it can't do any harm at the very least, and it could be very exciting in the future. Now they also showed off some of their real-time graphics engine stuff. So Capcom have got a new engine, and they were showing what the developers of Heavy Rain can do, and talking about how graphics have evolved so far that you can really see the emotion in the player's face just through the player's face, through the graphics. Now obviously this is not exclusive to Sony or whatsoever. In fact, Crysis 3 has some of the best graphics apparently that we've ever seen through facial animations, but we'll have to wait and see. But it's all very promising, and it's all looking very good for Sony so far. Of course it will depend on how much the console is, but we know that it's coming out at the end of the year, so holiday, so Christmas, so it'll be around about December time. And of course we'll be getting one, and we'll be having a look and seeing what it's all like near at the time. Not on the not so good side, what do we know? Well, they kind of slipped in that PS3 games won't be playable on the PS4 natively. But they said that their end goal is for any game, so PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4 game, to be available to you anywhere in the world through a device. How this is going to work, I imagine it will utilise the Vita, but you've got to remember that Sony also have tablets out there. They've got their, and of course they've got via laptops, but we'll have to see how this is implemented. Cloud gaming is the future, and it wouldn't be completely far-fetched to think that maybe you'll be able to stream your gameplay from your PlayStation 4 to your tablet. Or if you might be in Aruba and your console's back in the United States, that could be perfectly possible. But we'll wait and see. They were touching on that and saying how that could be good. Thank you for watching these quick thoughts about the PlayStation 4. As I said, as a PC gamer, I'm actually quite excited for this device, which I really didn't think I would be, but it's plainly down to the exclusive IPs that they've got and the fact that it's really innovating gaming. We're going to see more at E3 and maybe before, and at Gamescom. I'll be at Gamescom this year, so we get some good coverage and we will see what's happening. As for my channel, we've got got a lot of stuff coming up. Got the Aliens Colonial Marines review tomorrow. Sorry that's late, but I had to go away for a few days. But we've also got a dual monitor stand unboxing. It's cheap, it's about £60, which is cheap for a stand. Doesn't sound interesting, but it's very useful. And of course we've got a monitor, so it's the Dell Ultra Sharp, one of their latest ones. It's a 1920 by 1200 resolution, and it's an IPS panel, so we're having a look at that, seeing how it performs. We've also got the Corsair Vengeance M65 mouse unboxing, and I'll do a review coming up quite shortly. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.